a saloon. And he was very excitable. He said to me, I got a big story for you. You gotta wait to see it. And so, I waited. And after the storm, I got a telegram. And it said, come to Mount Hagen. This is where the news will be, and you will be the first to see. So, with the help of Percy and Isabel, we rode all the way up to Mount Hagen, and we found the body of Levi Lincoln. He was dead, with 6 casings around him, and a cryptic message, a letter. That was when Bella arrived, dressed like a witch of the valley, or a murderer. I thought I was going to die. I was pretty sure I was going to die. But it turned out that Bella was actually there because she too had received a telegram. And that telegram said that a loved one that was dear to her had passed and that she should go to the mountaintop. When she arrived, she was scared because she was currently wanted by the law. So she said her name was Holly. And so we rode down to the mountaintop to Strawberry.
Listen, when I met them at this mountaintop, 2 of them were pointing guns at me. I was absolutely terrified. I received this anonymous mail, and I arrive, and there's 2 people pointing guns, and another one being just as confused as I am.
We went down to Strawberry to see if we could save Levi, but I was informed by Percy that he had passed. And that was when Bella, who was disguised as Holly at the time, she asked if I was Law, and I said, no, miss, I am the newspaper man. Could you tell me about Levi? And she did. She told me he was a kind man, that he was a wonderful person, and that he had connections with the Scarlet. And so, time passed, and we took Levi to the morgue, where his body rested for a long time. And then a week passed, and then suddenly we started getting telegrams. Telegrams from a man who wanted to torment Bella, who wanted to taunt the law, and wanted his name in the newspaper. His first murder, well, I say first, second murder if you count Levi, was a man in an alley, and there he left a rose and a message, a cryptic message to those that came to see. We did not have any leads at this point, but then we got another riddle in the telegram, and it all led us to the casino boat. Only the killer sent the telegram at the same time he sent an alert to law, so we was awfully confused, and we was running around St. Denis trying to crack this second riddle when it was already cracked. We searched this place high and low. I think Bella searched every nook and cranny of St. Denis looking for another clue. In fact, we came across a clue that wasn't even related to the clues that we had found, so it was very confusing.
The casino boat, they actually took me to sea, but I wasn't really allowed on the boat. Like, they took me there, and then someone said she can't be here, and then I had to go, and then they took me in later, because he left an envelope on that crime scene, to me specifically.
And so we ran around this town, and Bella, too, she ran around this town. We were up at the other herbalist, where we found a hint, which wasn't a clue at all, but it was very confusing because it said hint 5, or clue 5, and so we were like, oh my god, we've skipped the clue, and it turns out that was not related. But then time passed again, and then Bella, who had her suspicions of who might be the Rose Killer, in fact, that she had attacked, or not attacked, but hog-tied a man named Jack Valentine, someone who was close with Levi, someone who was with him in the Scarlets, and took him to the crime scene where Jack denied everything. To cover his ruse, he kidnapped himself and set Bella on a wild goose chase in order to try and make himself appear innocent. Then, another long period of time passes, and then suddenly we start receiving our telegrams again, this time leading us to the Vaudeville Theater, where he had taken Arthur Cole, Sergeant Arthur Cole of the Sheriff's Department, and he had caved his skull in with a hammer.
And you pointed a gun at me and Pascal.
That's true. That did happen, and I apologize for that.
No, that's all right.
It was a very scary time for me. I'd walked in there, and normally, you know, when you're walking around Saint Denis, walking in the buildings and stuff, there aren't usually too many people around, and that place is kind of scary when you're in there by yourself. So I was on the stage, and Pascal and Delula walked in, and I pointed my gun at them, and they thought it was a stage show. So luckily, they did not aim back, and there was not a Mexican standoff there in the vaudeville theater.
At least you were wearing your gun that time, Bradley.
Well, I was scared shitless, so I did have my pistol. Because it was quite early on in the day, but sadly I was too late. The crime scene had already been scrubbed by the detectives who had found Arthur there. And so, once again, the silence beckoned. Until I was going through my files. I was making, because I had written about the Rose Killer on several occasions, and I was going through my telegrams when I noticed that the first telegram was not sent anonymously, like the rest of the letters that had been sent. I contacted Bella immediately, considering that she was closest to Levi. She would know, probably, whose telegram number this was. So I sent her a message and I said, please, Bella, it's vital of importance if you could tell me who owns this telegram. She obviously wanted to know why, and I confided in her that I believe that this man is the Rose Killer, because he knew the location of Levi Lincoln's body and the time. And so we concluded that Jack Valentine would be the Rose Killer. But sadly, we weren't ahead of the law. They too had been coming to their own conclusions, and Arthur had remembered that he thought he saw the face of Jack Valentine, and they put out a bounty at the same time. Now, with law, news, and Bella all closing in on the Rose Killer, we could only but wait. And then we all went to Levi Lincoln's funeral, which was a lovely time. Bella had invited Jack Valentine, hopefully to get him to come, but he did not show up. But it was a lovely ceremony. Maybe it was good that he didn't show up so that everyone could say goodbye to Levi. Now, I thought that this man would go to ground. Now that there was a bounty on him, I thought he would not show his face in this state, or he would hide in a hole somewhere because a bounty had been placed on him. But no, he started messaging, and he knew who he wanted to message, and he messaged Bella. But Bella was confused because she thought it was the same thing that happened all the other times where he had messaged everyone the location. But that was not the case. It was a trap. Even though Bella knew that Jack Valentine was the killer, she was going to go in there guns blazing, but he too would be waiting, and she would have no backup. She wanted to know why Jack had killed Levi. So she was hesitant, I feel. I don't want to speak for you, Bella, but I feel you may have been a bit hesitant.
I was a bit hesitant, and that's what made him tie me up.
And so he subdued Bella, knocking her out, bruising her neck and strangling her. Pascal managed to find her, but the police, they closed off the area and would not talk to me, or Pascal, or anyone else. So when the Rose Killer messaged me, telegrammed me, I chose not to involve the law. I chose to meet him face to face, to see who this man really was, to see if, after all and everything, that this would be Jack Valentine. So I went to the Elysian Pools, and I walked through there, throwing off my gun belt and using a lantern as I crossed through the waterfall and up in there. There I met him, the Rose Killer, Jack Valentine himself. He laughed menacingly in the dark as I stood still, his gun aimed at me and my head. I asked him, could I talk to him? Could I ask him some questions, please? I just wanted to know why. And he said, yes, you may ask your questions. And I asked him, why did you kill Levi Lincoln? Why did you do these terrible things, and why do you torture Bella? And he said, I do it because it was fun. Because I get joy from it. Because it satisfies me and I gain pleasure from it. I said, but what about Levi? Why did you start this? And he said that he was hired by a British woman from Cunningham. She paid a massive sum, And so he came here to the States to ingrain himself in the Scarlets and get close to Levi. And in doing so, he tricked him. Now, Levi had an incident a few days before the killing. I don't know if this is related, but Levi had lost his memory. Bella had tried to make him remember who he was, but I feel that the Rose Killer took advantage of this and used it to trick Levi into coming to Mount Hagen, where he killed him. Now, after all these murders, the Rose Killer told me that he would be heading west, and he would not return to Saint Denis, and he would continue killing till the whole state was dead. Then, he knocked me unconscious and left me in the cave. And after a while, I regained consciousness, and the police found me. They told me they were disappointed in me because I did not tell them I was meeting with the Rose Killer. But I was remarkably unscathed compared to everyone else who had either died, had their faces bashed in, or strangled. I came back to Saint Denis to talk to Bella, and Bella had already put into motion a cunning plan, a remarkable plan, a plan that I did not think would work, if I'm quite honest, because she had managed to make such an elaborate ruse. She managed to get Novak, a miner from Clive and Beaver's mine, to message the Rose Killer under the guise that I was going to be writing an article that would say that he was stealing from the mine and that he would pay cash on delivery if he delivered my body. The Rose Killer reached out, and I tried to ask him if I could bring Bella along, and he said no. So we decided to say that I would be alone, and I had come alone before, so he had no reason to think that I would lie to him. But Bella was one step ahead. Bella knew that she would be able to catch him. Now, I was really nervous, I will be quite honest, because I thought there was going to be a whole posse, but it turned out it was just going to be me and Bella, and that she had set up an ambush further along the trail, but she had also telegrammed the law, so if everything failed, the Rose Killer would be caught. I'm sorry, let me take a drink. And so, me and Bella rode towards the creek mine. Now, I was shitting myself. I gotta be quite honest, I'm not a firefighter or a gunslinger or anything like that. I'm just a journalist. I don't normally shoot at people. I don't know how to lasso. So I was completely in Bella's hands as she jumped off before we got to the mine. And so I walked in there alone, and I told the Jack Valentine, the Rose Killer, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. And he lassoed me and hog-tied me, and he carried me out. And I was shitting myself. And there was Bella, waiting. Because he had put me on his horse, you see, and he was about to ride off, and Bella appeared. And she threw that lasso at him, and it missed. And I thought we were done for, because he aimed his gun and shot at Bella.
You can tell them that it was a bowler. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
I missed the first bowler.
She missed the first bowler. And he pulled out his gun and he shot. And I thought, oh god, this is it. It's game over here. Bella has been done for. We are truly and welly fucked, and I'm dead. But it turns out that the bullets only grazed Bella's legs. And so she was able to stumble forward with her second bowler and take the man clean off his horse. Which was good. Because, Bella would finally get the redemption that she sought. But
you
sadly,
need to tell them to part with the beer as well.
yes, I was still on the back of the horse, and it kept going forward, and a roar came out from the valley as a wild bear approached, and I was still hog-tied on the back of the horse, and it was moving forward, and there was another, and so the Rose Killer was hog-tied, I was hog-tied, and Bella was trying to move between the both of us to save us from the bear that was slowly approaching, and she luckily grabbed me and managed to pull me to safety. I was screaming the whole time. I was like, Bella, please don't let me die to the bear. Please don't let me die to the bear. I don't want to die today. Please, Bella. Anyway, we managed to take him down off the mountain into the field where Bella was able to question him and get a little bit of revenge. I would have liked to see more of the revenge, or at least more of the questioning, but sadly, The telegram sent the law meant that they were hot on the trail and they arrived swiftly. And you know what Mr. Police is like. He don't like to share any of the glory, so he grabbed the Rose Killer, Jack Valentine, and slung him on his horse, and he didn't even want a statement from us. He just left. Straight up, they all just left. And luckily, I was having a bit of a hard time, so Bella had to hog-tie me and bring me back. But yes, he was truly remarkable. Bella took down the Rose Killer single-handedly, because I was no use, because I was crying the whole time.
That is true. And there was a slight panic with the beer as well, because I didn't have any guns on me either. I only had my bolas.
I gotta say, Bella, your confidence was incredible. Although I was to follow up on the story, and the reason I contacted you was Mr. Police came and asked for my statement, and I give my statement to the best of my ability to what we talked about. And it turns out he is not satisfied. I think he's opening a massive investigation into the whole thing. I can't believe that they are so ungrateful that you caught the Rose Killer, because they seem to be, they were asking, did Bella use a bola? Did Bella use a bola? I said, no, she used a lasso. And then he pulled out a bola and said, was this what it looked like? And I said, I couldn't see. I was on a horse tied up. And, well, you know. Then he said, well, I got news for you. You are wanted you are wanted. Someone wants you dead. And I said, no, to set a trap, you need to first make a trap. So I'm pretty much fine. But they hauled him off to Sisika, which I believe you can escape from. So I'm kind of worried that Jack Valentine may escape that prison.
Well, I will shoot him myself if he does. And I will take his moustache, and I will take his, give him a little haircut this time as well.
But yeah, that was truly the whole story up to this point. We have yet to see the court date